Jason Aaron, writer of Thor and the Avengers, and you're watching Mint Collectibles.
What's going on, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint. It's Wednesday, February 5th. We're going to do today's new comic book day reviews, so stay tuned. This video is sponsored by ThatSpidermanBooth.com. Make sure to check out their website for their $30 mystery boxes. You can get $10 off by using the code GEMMINT. The current grand prize that runs from today until Saturday is a New Mutants 98 CGC 9.0 signed by Rob Liefeld. It's the first appearance of Deadpool. One lucky winner will have that in their mystery box. Alright, so now that all of that is out of the way, first we're going to talk about Image Comics. Image has been sending us advanced PDFs of all of their books that are coming out, including trade paperbacks. I took a look at a couple of books here. The first one was Gideon Falls issue 21, and this was an amazing issue. This was the end of what they call book 4, so I guess it would be the 4th trade paperback. Epic showdown. We finally get a huge showdown between the Smiling Man and our protagonist. I'm not going to give anything away, and it would be hard to with how kind of confusing this book is, but it's awesome. Jeff Lemire doing a crazy job on this book. I can't wait to just reread this in some kind of collected edition to really binge them all back to back. But issue 21 was probably one of the strongest issues of Gideon Falls. It's really tying in the time traveling aspect, the barn aspect, the villain, this kind of limbo area. Must read for sure. Then I checked out this After Realm Quarterly book, and man, I could not get into this book at all. This was like a super long book. It was like a fantasy type of vibe with like elves and such. So drawn out. I couldn't even finish it. I could not get through this After Realm Quarterly. Sorry, wasn't feeling it. They had some other cool stuff in the PDF, but I'm not caught up with a lot of these runs, and even like the Die Trade Paperback Volume 2. I still haven't read Volume 1, so I really need to catch up on my Image titles, but being how they're giving us these early advanced copies on Fridays, we'll be able to do that. Speaking of advanced copies, man, we got to give a huge shout out to Marvel. They sent 6 advanced comics this week, and we'll go through them quickly, but we really appreciate you guys sending us these issues. The first one is the Chip Zdarsky X-Men plus Fantastic Four issue 1. This is a 4-issue miniseries, and it lived up to the hype. Chip Zdarsky is an amazing writer, and this is really cool because it deals with Franklin Richards, who is the son of Reed and Sue Richards, but he's also a mutant. So it kind of ties him into both of these worlds. So the X-Men kind of want all mutants to live on Krakoa, so obviously they're going to try to recruit Franklin, and Reed is obviously going to have a problem with that. There's also something going on with Franklin's powers that Reed may or may not be able to fix. Awesome book. I feel like they could have gone with a different art style on this book, though. It did feel a little kiddie, a little childish, and I think with Chip being such a great writer, it would have benefited from like a more serious type of art style. But that's just my opinion. Another great book this week, Darth Vader #1. I was really looking forward to this, and it lived up to the hype. This takes place after The Empire Strikes Back, after the reveal of Darth Vader being Luke's father, cutting off his hand, and his failure to recruit Luke to the dark side. Really awesome because it kind of shows what Darth Vader did after this, going to all the places for the people who could have hidden Luke and Leia from him, and the different families they would have gone through, and going back to Tatooine. So definitely an awesome issue. If you were hyped for this one, the hype is real. Next up, we have this Gamerverse Avengers Hulk #1. Gamerverse is that series that kind of adapted the PS4 Spider-Man into a comic book, and now they're doing this like Hulk story. It was just a fun type of book. It wasn't kiddie, but it wasn't a book that was too serious. It was just kind of like, I don't know, it was really like a retelling of Hulk's origin, but for a new villain. It's kind of the same kind of concept, though. So it was pretty cool, just kind of a low-stakes blockbuster action flick. Savage Avengers 0. So basically what you have here, guys, is a reprint book. It's basically Uncanny X-Men, I think 180 and 181, and it's kind of bookended by a new story. So this new story in Savage Avengers has to do with magic and Doctor Strange, and this new villain, and I don't even remember the name. But basically, it's a flashback type of one-shot, but it's actual reprints, so the original art and Chris Claremont's story. And then it kind of ends with how this is going to affect the Secret Avengers run, which I'm not reading. So wasn't really into this for me. And just keep in mind if you're looking to buy this, because it is a $5 book and it's essentially reprinting 2 old school issues. So we got 2 Conan books. So I got to be honest, I don't understand Marvel's whole thing with buying back the Conan rights and pumping so much Conan. I mean, he's part of that Savage Avengers. They have all these Conan omnibus, all these Conan comics. I'm just not really sure who the audience is for this. This Conan Serpent Battle for the Serpent Crown #1. It was actually a really fun issue. I'm not gonna lie. I read this and it was really cool. It was like Conan in Las Vegas, and he's looking for money, and he's trying to find coin, and you know it's in modern times. He has to kind of team up with this thief and to get paid, and I don't know. It was kind of fun in that aspect. So it was. I went into it kind of like but it was actually really good. Now this Dark Agnes, I could not get into this at all. There was just no redeeming qualities about it to me. I found it very boring, just uninteresting, and it's kind of in that same Conan world. I just didn't care for it at all. All right, so that's the Image stuff we got early, the Marvel stuff. This Captain Marvel, The End, I missed it from last week. I must have thought it was part of the Captain Marvel run, which I'm not reading, but I'm picking up all the End books. This was an amazing comic. Kelly Thompson wrote it, and it's funny. Like, my first kind of interactions with her were negative. I didn't like the Deadpool 1. I know Fee didn't like her Rogue and Gambit. I took her word for it, the way she described it. But then I started reading more Kelly Thompson stuff, like the Jessica Jones book that's being released as single issues. This Captain Marvel book was by far the best of these The End series. And it was just a really good story. I mean, it's the end, right? So it's the end of Captain Marvel's story. Earth has pretty much been destroyed, and there's like this small pocket of survivors. She is like elevated to a whole other level. She's literally like glowing like a star, and she basically goes back and helps this pocket of survivors. A lot of reunion stuff, a lot of futuristic characters that are grown up, like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones' daughter. Then you have like a daughter of you have Kate Bishop. You have a lot of futuristic cameos. This was a great book. Alright, so now we're kind of at the clean slate with the pulls that I have here. Let's start with the DC Black Label, Joker, Harley, Criminal Sanity. Now, if you remember this book, this was like a realistic take on Harley Quinn being a homicide detective for a serial killer. It's kind of like a new origin of Joker. So we don't know, is it Joker or not? It's kind of like this Vitruvian killer who's killing these people and leaving them desecrated in the pose of classic artwork. But it's an amazing book. I always talk about the artists here because they have 2, right? You have Kami Garcia, but now I can't remember if that's the Life stuff, and then Miko Suyan is the black and white, one or the other. But this is a great book. I really enjoy this one. All right, sticking with DC Black Label, we have Daphne Byrne. This is issue 2. Now we're starting to get a stride with this one. The first issue was like not as captivating as a #1 issue should have been. This one makes more sense. Daphne is being followed by this ghost. She's being haunted in her dreams, haunted in real life. She ends up kind of giving in to him, and he has the power to like make her see things. I don't know if you want to say how they really are, or basically as people are husks of meat that are already dead, and she could kind of exploit that. But it was definitely interesting. It was a page turner. I thought it flowed really well. Laura Marks killing it on the Hill House Comics. My last DC book, this is Batman 88, James Tynion IV. This was a great issue. The artwork is amazing in this book. Who's doing the artwork? March. The artwork is amazing. Basically, you have kind of like Catwoman. She's digging up a grave. She's digging up something. It's pouring rain out. And it's kind of like she's part of like this Simpsons Fighting Hellfish Club or something like that, where she has this pact with Riddler and Penguin and I think Deathstroke as well, and it's going to come back to haunt her, and Batman's going to get pissed. I don't know. I guess she's part of some kind of evil shit. But the designer is the big villain that they're building up now, and it's funny because parts 1 and 2 of the story, I was saying everyone has a design for Gotham. Batman has one, the villains have one, and now there's like this legit the designer villain, and that's what we're building up here towards. So I liked it. I thought it picked up much more than parts 1 and 2, which I wasn't really a fan of. This one was definitely my favorite out of those 3 so far. Jumping over to Boom Studios, we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Power Rangers issue 3. You know I wanted to give this my pick of the week, but there's something here that just captivated me more. But this is an awesome book, man. How do I not talk spoilers? So obviously you can see on the front, Shredder looking like a Power Ranger. We're going to get a lot of different characters using power coins in this run. It's hinting at stuff towards the end of this. We understand Tommy's motives for joining the Foot. This is an awesome book if you're a fan of IDW's Turtles run or the Boom Studios Power Rangers or just of those franchises in general. Definitely pick up this run. If you grew up in the 90s like me, you're going to love it. All right, Ant-Man #1, Zeb Wells, Dylan Burnett, and Mike Spicer. So Ant-Man 1, it was a fun book, man. If you're a big fan of Paul Rudd, it's got his kind of dry humor. Ant-Man is written like him. It's not Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's Ant-Man and the Stinger. He's got his daughter as his partner now. But he's still broke Scott Lang, can't afford an apartment, living in the anthill. And we go up against an old Spider-Man villain here, man. I'm not going to say who it is, but it was fun. I mean, if you're tight on your budget, you could probably skip this one. But otherwise, it's a good read. We have another one of the end one-shots, Captain America. This is written and drawn by Eric Larson. And I felt like it was very Jack Kirby, Golden Age, Cap-inspired, like the Mind Bomb inspired. Yeah, like right here. Like this is how the artwork looked on the inside. It was alright. It was kind of a cheesy Captain America book. Everyone's turning into Red Skulls and basically he's being overwhelmed and he wants to give up, but he's a true hero, so you know Cap's going to pull through. But it wasn't bad, but it was just kind of cheesy. Love Eric Larson though. Daredevil 17, Chip Zdarsky. Man, I feel like the last couple of issues were a little slow. Brings it right back here, man. I really love this issue. You know, Daredevil pulled a heist with Elektra, and she kind of played him on what she was using the funds for. So Daredevil's hitting the streets. He's stepping toward, I forget the name of the big wealthy family that's running everything, and he finds out the motives here, man. Basically, they're trying to stop the police from going into Hell's Kitchen so that the crime rates go up. The real estate market goes down, then they buy everything up and then save the day. So Daredevil's going to have something to say about that. Really dope issue. I've been loving this run, and it really picked back up here. All right, Christopher Cantwell on Doctor Doom 5. I've been defending this run the whole time. My boy Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers, he hated it the whole time. I really loved issue 4 with Doctor Doom in Hell with Mephisto. But now in this issue, man, I can kind of see what people are saying. I really wasn't digging it. He's getting these fragmented visions of this future where he's like normal with a wife and she's pregnant and everything. And he ends up tracking down that person in this reality and he's trying to kind of play that out. He likes that idea. He wants to have that peaceful life. You get some cool Kang pop-ins, Kang the Conqueror, but otherwise, it just feels like a weird story, like a weird Doctor Doom run. Jerry Dugan on Marauders 7. Marauders 7, I really like the Kate Bishop character. I mean, they're putting her on missions. She's unable to pass through Krakoa's portals for whatever reason, so she's kind of patrolling the perimeter, right? She's getting tips and leads on people that are trying to do harm to the mutants. For instance, here, there's 2 shipments of the Krakoa medicine that's going out to their allies, but one ship is poison, one ship is the antidote. So she's got to go stop that shipment from coming through because it'll make it look like the mutants are attacking the humans. You get some Hellfire Club stuff here, and it seems like Sebastian Shaw, he's kind of being hard to work with. Everyone's trying to get their red queens and white knights and white bishops in order. And then you have the little kitty appearances, the kitty Hellfire Club. I don't know. I didn't love the issue. Jerry Dugan has done a lot better stuff. But, it's cool to kind of see the evolution of this whole House of X thing play out. So I'm down for all the titles. And there's a ton more coming from what I understand. My pick of the week, this was also the surprise of the week. I don't even know why I got this. This is the Immortal Hulk Great Power one-shot, and this issue totally took me by surprise. If you're a Spider-Man fan, a Hulk fan, or a Fantastic Four fan, you gotta pick up this issue. Don't sleep on it. It's so well written. The artwork is great. It's, as you can see in the cover, Spider-Man hulks out, which we've seen before, so you can see what causes that, and I just loved it. I don't know, when I read it, it was just, some books are a chore to read. This book was a pleasure to read, so I'm not digging the Immortal Hulk run. I'm not really a big fan of one-shots that don't matter or don't have stakes, but this one was just really awesome. Anyone who reads this, let me know what you thought about it because it really blew me away. All right, guys, that's it. If you made it this long, we are celebrating our 50,000 subscriber milestone by giving away an XM Studio Spider-Man statue. Go ahead and hop over to that video, comment on there to enter. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notification bells on so that you're eligible for the drawing. Make sure to hit that like button before you leave and comment down below what did you think about this week's new comics. Thanks for watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.